Morning. This is John G. Presco coming to you live from Springfield, Oregon. This is your candidate for the governor of Oregon. I was on earlier talking about my fight in the middle of the night with demons. Yes, sirree. Uh, I consider myself a prophet. Other people notice that I got the sight. I can see things like I had a dream about the Oakland fire. And I talked about it with my landlord. Well, first of all, I had the dream, and I was living in the Oakland Hills below the Mormon Temple. And I went to my landlord. I had been there for a month, and I said, do you mind if I clear some of these pine needles from around the house and some of the shrubbery? And your gutters are filled with pine needles. I got to clean them out. And he says, well, yeah, what do you want to do that for? I said, well, I had a dream last night about a fire, big old fire, that was coming our way. And I think as precaution, I should, make the house more safe from a conflagration. You had a vision, huh? A dream. Well, my sisters in Boston, they were CEOs. They professed to have visions. Well, good for them. But yeah, I can dig it. So a couple of days later, he calls me up and says, "Hey, John, your dream's on TV." I said, "What do you mean?" "There's a fire a couple miles away in the Oakland Hills." I go, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, but it's not anywhere near us. So I'm gonna go to my country club and have my morning martini on Sunday. I think it was Sunday, and I said, "Well, what do you want me to do if the fire gets here? You want me to pack up your family photos and your dog, get the hell out of here with it with your dog?" And he said, "No, don't worry, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't coming here." you know. So life's strange when you got the sight. So I'm watching the news, and the flames are coming this way fast. I mean, the old Oakland Hills is like a flagellation. Big old fire, big old smoke coming this way, and there's helicopters. So I run out and turn on the hose. I did clear out a lot of the pine needles and stuff, but I got to wet down this bush because it wasn't cleared back enough. See, so I'm sitting there wetting all the bush down, and he comes screaming down the driveway. There was a dirt road, dead end street, and he jumps out and says, "You man that hose." "Well, I'm already on that hose." And he ran over and got another hose, and he's hosing down. And then I see a helicopter coming over. It's got a big bag on it. Drop some water over there. And I'm in what they call dream time. See, it's exactly what I saw. And so, let's see, somewhere along the line, the woman down the street called me and said, well, I think the name of my landlord. Bob said you had a dream about the fire. Did the fire come down here? And I said, no. Next thing I know it, there's these couple of cars pulling in with all the stuff packed up on the roof, tied down. You know? I go, what the hell? She's having some of her friends in the Oakland Hills come down here. She's got nowhere to go. And they think it's safe down here because of my dream, because I didn't see the fire coming here. So I love doing Ken Burns. I do. I got to get some of my videos to him. I think we're like soul brothers. So yeah, but then the fire kept coming, and those people pulled out with all their stuff tied down. It was horrific. And I finally went to the top of the hill with my car in the evening, because I was busy doing all this stuff. And it was like just this huge smoke column blocking out the sun and heading right across the bay out to the ocean. There was an offshore breeze, and it was like, wow. So, nightmare come true. So, I tried to tell the story about me coming back to Oakland when I was 18. Now, I gotta say, I wasn't ever supposed to mention that Marilyn's half sister dated Robert Shula's son. And let's see, got it right here. Got it right here, Tia. And let's see, the congregation is the present Christ Cathedral campus. In 1961, erected a building now known as the Arboretum, designed by architect Richard Newtrup as an initial sanctuary. In 1968, the congregation completed the Tower of Hope to provide office and classroom space, but continued growth. See, the Garden Grove Community Church was founded in 1955 by Robert Schuler and his wife Arvilla for the Reformed Church in America. So Shauna was half Filipino. And she was dating Robert Schuler's son. I didn't get his name. I got to do a couple of shows on Maryland alone. And she was, like a mother. She was a Baptist. She went to church on Sundays. She went to all the events for church events. She went to Bible study. She was just a super Christian like her mom. And she met Robert Schuler's son, and they were going to get married. And I said, huh. He said, so Miller was saying that he would come over and spend the night. He would stay on the living room floor. And he hung around Shauna a lot. And all of a sudden, the marriage was off. And this was like devastating to the whole family. See, I didn't find about this later, because I felt that Marilyn and her mother, and if I'd known Shauna, she would have seen that I looked like Robert Schuler's son, see. And that was a whole part of it. Why Marilyn had to have me when she saw me when she was 15, because she was trying to reduplicate the height of the family. They lived in a poor little house, poor family most of their life, and they lived in this Mexican neighborhood, and Marilyn was beat up by the Mexican girls, and brother Stan was hanging around the beatniks of Venice, and he was a Pachuco too, and Ron, he was Shauna's real brother. He was half Filipino, and he hung around some bad people. So they grew up in the Sawtell neighborhood, which is a badass neighborhood, and here's Robert Schuler's son coming down there, putting some blankets on the floor and staying the night. See, so I got to know Marilyn. I'm allowed to stay in her bedroom and sleep on the floor with some blankets. And I always sensed that she had some kind of agenda about me. She's 15 and I'm 16. And like I'm going, I don't get it. See, I got my own agenda. I'm going to be a world famous artist. See, I don't want to go to your mom's church. I don't want to go to your Billy Graham crusades. They made me go to 3 Billy Graham crusades at the Coliseum, And when I didn't go down to be saved after the third one, Marilyn's mother forbid me to see her. She says, Marilyn says, my mama won't let me see you no more, And if you try, she's going to call the police on you. Really? You call the police on me for what? Being in love? I'm 17. You can't force me to go to church, go to Billy Graham meetings. If I tell my mama, she'll kill your mama. We're raised Catholics, famous Catholic family. So Marilyn forbid me to mention, that Shauna was going with Robert Schuler's son. And this was the whole picture movie, their family movie that they were trying to get me to come into to fill his shoes. See, and I was a stone cold atheist, but I had the spirituality that was from the Twilight Zone. We used to go up to the Mormon temple, and I would start talking about my spiritual visions. Marilyn would just go, "Oh, how come he's not doing this at my mama's Baptist church?" We get Johnny here to the Crystal Palace Cathedral. It'd be revenge against the Schuler family for standing Shauna up at the altar. See, that's what it's about. See, and she's not telling me, but she's trying to, manipulate me with love and kisses and teen love and the whole thing, and I can't handle this. You got to tell me what the hell's going on, girl. You got my own agenda. I want to be an artist. I don't want to be a preacher man's son. I'm not any of that, Well, that's what I turned out to be. So anyway, I got another girlfriend, and her father's the Purple Gang, and he threatens to kill me. And had, like he did Sky. That's another story. So Melinda, that's my second girlfriend, and she saves my life. And, then we break up because her father wants me to be a member of the family and get a job in a soft porn movie theater in Hollywood. Wants me to be the manager when I'm 17. And I'm saying, Melinda, if I take that job and I have some money to get a house, apartment, and you and I could get married, then we can, fornicate, because I don't dare do it because your father said he'd kill me. This is a movie, see, that I've been in, my family's been in, and the movie's just not going to stop. Like, I'm in therapy, and now I suffer from PTSD because of all this, and it's beginning to come back to the point where I can talk about it and relive it and really take control of my life story. So Melinda comes in to make company. I'm working there selling art supplies, and she says, "You ought to come up back north, John. There's something going on up there, Really, Melinda? There's something going on, really. My best friend Brian McLean, the group Love, called her Black Widow. She got my friend Sky killed by her father. Really? I'm in love with her, Brian. I ain't gonna give her up. So here she is telling me, because she's gotten away from her father and she's living up in San Francisco. And she's saying something really remarkable has happened. You'd fit right in, John. Right, you fit right in. This is made for you. So I quit my job. I had a 1958 Ford Fairlane green and white that my aunt had given me, my aunt June Rice. And I put my big canvases on top. I bought a some strap to, put in the window wells, and strapped about 5 of my paintings on there, and I headed up Highway 1 and going to Oakland. You know, my friend Keith, who stayed with me when I lived in the village in New York, and I called him up. He said, "Yeah, come stay. We got a crash pad, by the Grand Lake Theater." So I come in there and take my paintings off, and I have a showing in the room. People are smoking doobies. We're paying like something like $50 a month. $10 for a matchbox of marijuana. Buy yourself some canned food, noodles and shit, spaghetti. And that was it. That was 1965. The big party was on, called the summer. This is before the Summer of Love. So I head down to Jack London Square because I want to see if Acme Produce is still there. And that was a Victorian building on Webster Street, right by the Embarcadero Street, where the train tracks ran. And I remember taking a break. I was put to work at Acme Produce when I was 8, and worked there till I was almost 12. Get up at 5 in the morning, be down there in the produce market in Jacqueline Square, getting going around my father buying vegetables and crates, and we load them up, and sacks of potato. Me and my brother, hefting up their potatoes, together. We finally got strong enough where we could throw in a 100-pound sack up there by ourselves. We were lumpers. We knew how to load the can truck up and drive around the Bear delivering vegetables. Acme Produce. And I mean, this. I remember my father, Victor Presco. He was in the Merchant Marines, and he fixed up this warehouse that was kind of small. So he had a potato grater that he made, and he put up a pulley so you could pull the thing up and lift it up off the floor, so he could like swab the deck, the old wood floor. And he, one day he seasoned it with oil, linseed oil and stuff, and got the rope tied and the potato graters up there. And this old bum comes in there that stopped by and visit Vic. They had a lot of old bums get off the trains, the SP line. They go to the Gold West Bar, which I ended up at, getting drunk for a long time, a year or so. So he comes in there, he's talking to Vic, old gnarly face, and all of a sudden he goes, he clears nostrils, and the big old humongous snot comes out right on the wood floor that my father just oiled up. And he looks at him and said, "I want you to get out of my establishment. Get out of here." "What's wrong, Vic?" "What did I do?" "Well, you know what he did." So it ain't there. They tore it down. And so I go down along that road there, and there's nothing but empty field out there, except for this big old railroad barn of seasoned wood, big old wood planks on it, and huge doors. And they had a railroad track leading into it and a railroad track leading out of it. And I said, my gosh, I want to do a sculpture in that barn. I'm going to do a big, get some welding material, welding torches, and learn how to do a weld. And I'm going to make me a Trojan horse in here. this bond. I'll be working on it late at night. People see the sparks at it. What's that man doing over there in that bond? I don't know. He says he's an artist, but he won't let us come in and see what he's doing in there. You know, and I'm like, I'm 17. I'm saying this is going to be the greatest work of art made in the San Francisco Bay Area. This is my homecoming. See, back to Oakland. Back to Oakland with his vision. Lived in L.A. for a couple of years, fell in love with Marilyn, who wanted to get him into the church, then go to the Billy Graham crusades, and now I'm back in my element. I'm back in the town I was born. And I'm working on this big sculpture, put down the visor, and all of a sudden, I call up the mayor and everybody and the art people to come because I'm going to have this showing, see? The porters will be there and everything, And, I'll have some drums, I know how to play the drum. I do a snare roll, and the big doors open. Boom, 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 boom. And I push a button and this electric motor was wheel out my big Trojan horse along this old railroad track, and there's all these tall weeds, and there's jackrabbit in there, and hawks coming down to catch the jackrabbit, see? And there's a big iron horse, like a scene of Troy. See, that was my vision, see? I hung out there. See, I hung out there, that's where I go. It's like the country. Walk through the fields and I'd see some jackrabbits taking off, and the hawk will come down from, wherever, try to catch the jackrabbit. And I'd sit there and look at the edge of the estuary. And I had this vision. And I went and got my father and his business partner who were into real estate. And I took them down there. I said, you got to come down and listen to see my vision I got here. And I talked about creating this wooden village, to replicate what it looked like down here at the wharf when Jack London was here. It'll be a deliberately vintage Oakland village, back 100 years. And you'd have restaurants in here, a hotel, and everything else, see? You'd have some music playing, a place to play some music, and you'd have maybe a bookstore, some people reading from Jack London, My father goes, really? Is that what you see, son? I said, yeah, Papa. That's what I see right here in this empty field. Oh boy, you've been smoking too much marijuana with your new friends, haven't you? No, Papa. I ain't high on drugs. I swear I ain't. Well, better luck next time. Ring me up when you get it. A more sound vision. I'm not going to get my investors down here listening to you. Well, guess what? 5 years, 6 years later, they build Jack London Village. Just the way I described it. Exactly. And then they tore it down. Port of Oakland apparently owns this property and control of it, something. They tore it all down. And I was just looking at some sites, to save the village. They grew trees there. They said it was like an oasis. It was. And they built it exactly. So I don't know. Maybe my father just pretended it wasn't a good idea. And then he went to one of his friends, investors. And he said, Bob, I got this idea about building a replica of of an old seaport town named after Jack London. Really, Rick? Really? That's your idea? Oh yeah, yeah, that's my idea. You know, people ripping me off is the story of my life, and I'm working that with my therapist. And it's one of the reasons I chose to run for the governor of Oregon, because I got to start grabbing success by the tail. It's my success. See, I was raised to be a failure. And people started seeing how brilliant I was and my visions were how grand and beautiful they were. They tried to steal them or divert my energy into their project. See, that's what Maryland did. To the point where I'm going to be arrested for not going to Billy Graham crusade. I'm the only one, I think. The only teenager who's threatened with arrest because I didn't go down there to be saved. Yeah? And look at how, now we're in trouble with Putin thinking that he's, the Russian Billy Graham, and he's going to invade Ukraine because they came up, they invented a breakaway Russian Orthodox church. It's like, they're the Martin Luther, breaking away from the Catholic Church, and Putin now the Pope, he's going to go in there with his papal army any minute now. The French, diplomats came in there and they said, I don't speak French, but I used to be able to fake it. You can't do this, you must, we don't need another war, in Europe, British wars in Europe were horrific people. And I studied it. I'm a biblical scholar, and now I'm going to go back into my art. See, I'm going to do more artwork. And I might be making my Trojan horse down there, Jack London Square. All right, you take care here. This is, I guess, the Voice Poverty Show, and I'll be catching you down the road. Don't lose sight of your dreams.